Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. I just got home from work and found out that Jimmy Cliff passed away, unfortunately, at the age of 81. He was born in 1944 and just passed away, apparently, of pneumonia at the age of 81. Kind of an interesting artist because he's a revolutionary, but yet with reggae music, you don't really hear that much about Jimmy Cliff over the decades. But when you talk about popularizing reggae and being an ambassador of reggae, he really came first. Even I'm guilty of it. I tend to think of Peter Tosh and Burning Spear and Third World, and of course Bob Marley, who's in industry, right? But Jimmy Cliff came first. In fact, 1967, and here's one of his compilation albums. You can see a track there called Hard Road to Travel. That came out, it was an album, came out in 1967, long before Peter Tosh, long before even Bob Marley. And 1969, when I was all of 6 years old, he already had hits, big hits, Many Rivers to Cross, Wonderful World, Beautiful People. These are amazing songs and really catchy. And maybe that's the issue with Jimmy Cliff because, of course, he's a reggae artist, totally, from Jamaica. But he's got this amazingly gorgeous, beautiful, soulful voice that's impossible not to love. And his songs could be fairly commercial, like Wonderful World and Beautiful People and Many Rivers Across. These are amazing tracks, some of the greatest tracks of all time. In 1970, he did a great cover of Cat Stevens' Wild World. Amazing cover of that. And then, of course, You Can Get It If You Really Want. These are reggae tracks, but they are commercial. His voice is just wonderful. 1972, he does The Harder They Come. Now, it's funny. I just did, this morning I posted it, best soundtrack albums. And I got a comment, David Kunsley and some others saying, where's The Harder They Come? And I'm like, oh my God, of course I have The Harder They Come. But I don't actually think of The Harder They Come as a compilation soundtrack. I think of it as a Jimmy Cliff album because to me it's like the ultimate Jimmy Cliff album. It is fantastic. And of course on the original album, now this is the deluxe edition, there's the original soundtrack. There are some other people on there, Rivers of Babylon and Sweet and Dandy and Johnny Too Bad, and there definitely are, but Desmond Decker with Shantytown, it is certainly a soundtrack album. But Jimmy Cliff just dominates it. So in my mind, I think of The Harder They Come as a Jimmy Cliff album. Just like I don't think of A Hard Day's Night and Yellow Submarine and Magical Mystery Tour and other albums as soundtracks. Those are Beatle albums. I think of The Harder They Come as a Jimmy Cliff album, the ultimate Jimmy Cliff album. It is that great. Now this deluxe edition throws in all these other where it really is a soundtrack album. So I probably should have put it in there with the Israelites and all the ones on disc 2 especially. But Jimmy Cliff dominates it. Of course, he was the actor in the movie, and it just doesn't get any better than The Harder They Come. But you definitely need to have a compilation like the Best of Jimmy Cliff. This is fantastic. And yeah, is he the ambassador of reggae? Yeah, but this music is just wonderful even beyond reggae music. It's just... he's got a voice that's like butter. You just cannot love Jimmy Cliff's voice. I saw him in concert in the early 80s, I remember, and it was just great. He just expanded reggae music, and it was just fantastic. He even did collaborations with a lot of rock stars and pop stars, Joe Strummer, Annie Lennox, Sting, many others. He's even on singing backup on the Stones' Dirty Work album in 1986. He was even on Saturday Night Live in the mid-'70s. I remember seeing him. I'm not actually sure what year it was, but I would guess 75, 76, 77, around there. Bruce Springsteen popularized Trapped, a great Jimmy Cliff song that nobody knew until Springsteen started performing it, and everybody's like, well, what song is that, Trapped? And it's a Jimmy Cliff song. So he actually won 2 Grammys, and he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which he deserves to be. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He got in like 2010. So anyway, I'm going to be throwing on some Jimmy Cliff after I have dinner now. And I think we should all remember the great Jimmy Cliff, one of the legendary, most important reggae artists from Jamaica. and a sad loss, but he certainly contributed so much to reggae music and popular music. And if you don't have The Harder They Come, you need to get it. I should have probably put it in soundtracks, but it is Jimmy Cliff all the way. And get a good compilation of Jimmy Cliff. Many Rivers to Cross. Oh, how could you not love this music? It's just great. So another sad loss, but I had to mention it before I go have dinner and go to sleep because I'm tired and I look tired. Anyway, thanks as always. I appreciate you watching. If you're new, hit subscribe. But we got to honor these legendary musicians who make our lives so much more fulfilled with their great music. All right, folks, I'll see you next time on the Alan Rosenberg Show.